Hello everyone, welcome back to Live at 5. I'm here with Laurie. How are you?
Lyle at 5.
Yeah, Lyle at 5. I need to start getting into it, man.
Lyle at 5, man.
You good though?
Yeah, I'm alright, man. I'm alright. Yeah, weather's cooled down a little bit. A bit disappointing, man.
Yeah, man. I had to bring a jacket today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was thinking, I woke up this morning, it was overcast outside. I was like, right, that's a departure.
Yeah, it's very true.
Normally I wake up, I'm sweating. I have to go straight to the shower today. But hey, man, this is England.
Yeah, at least, it's not raining.
Yeah, exactly. It's not raining, it's not
Could be
cold.
worse.
So, yeah, it's all good.
But anyways, guys, we're live. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment as much as possible. We've got so much to talk about. Let's start with a bit of a different topic, Aston Villa. So we see now Jacob Ramsey, he's been announced as a Newcastle player. I believe, I don't know how much he costs. I want to say maybe about 40 mil. I don't know if anyone in the chat wants to tell us how much he was, but obviously he's left Newcastle now to go to he's left Aston Villa to join Newcastle. First of all, what do you think for Newcastle? That's actually a good...
Yeah, that's good. In fact, I'm a bit surprised Villa let him go, to be honest. I mean, I know he's not been a regular starter by any means for Villa. He's and obviously you want to play football, isn't he? Because he's a young, aspiring footballer. But yeah, I'm a little surprised that Villa let him go because I think he personally is a very good player.
Yeah. Nah, he is. I mean, he can play in midfield. He can play as a winger as well. So he's someone, and as well, we saw last season how good he can be and
exactly
how the impact he has on the squad. I mean, towards the end, he didn't really start as much as probably he wanted with Rashford joining the club. But I still think he's a very good young talent. You know what I mean?
Very good squad player. And I do think he will definitely enhance Newcastle.
Yeah. And we already know how good Eddie Howe is with young talents.
That's true. And
especially attacking players and how well he can, hone their talent and make sure they look good. But
I hope he does well, man.
Yeah,
good player. And he's going to a good club. And like you said, Kenyon, Eddie Howe has a good reputation for developing young players. So I'm sure that will work out.
Yeah,
just fine.
One thing, though, is the statements of the likes of Tyrone Mings and John McGinn. I don't know if you saw the statements that they put out. So first of all,
last time I saw Tyrone Mings, he was gripsing up Mason Green.
Yeah, man. Big him up. But we saw Tyrone Mings posted an Instagram story essentially saying, almost saying to people, don't get on this kid's back. You don't know the half of the story. And then even John McGinn basically wrote a very nice heartfelt message it's such a shame that such a player's leaving, and this is football these days, that we have to basically sell such young talented
But why
players.
were they getting on his back?
No, but it was almost as if they were saying to fans, don't get onto Jacob Ramsey's back for leaving. And it kind of hints that maybe Jacob Ramsey didn't want to leave, but he had to leave because of Villa's PSR issues, which we know is something is hanging over their head. They're not, as we've seen in this window so far, they've actually not been able to go out in the window and spend money, really, at all.
I mean, I can understand why the Villa fans would be upset that he's leaving, because he is a local lad, isn't he? He's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
He would have come through their systems. It's never a nice thing when, we had it with Aiden Heaven, isn't it?
Yeah. When
a player has come up through the ranks and you want him to stay, but lack of opportunities or whatever the case may be, they move on. But I don't think fans should pile on any player like that. You have to respect the fact that they're young guys. You only get one career. They have to do what's best for them. So I will never. I mean, it was the same with Aiden Heaven. I was disappointed to see him go to Man United, but he cited as the reason he felt he could get more playing time at United. And to be fair, he's already. So.
You see how KG and Flex talk about him and, praise someone like Aiden Heaven. And the reality is he's not going to start over any of our centre-backs.
Exactly.
So for his career, it was necessary for him to go on and leave. And, I think all Arsenal fans kind of accepted that and said, look, the kid's very talented. Go ahead, go shine somewhere else. You deserve to play.
It's always initially disappointing because a kid has come through the system. There's been a lot of investment there, both in terms of developing him financially and the amount of time and effort that's got him to that stage, and then for him to leave is disappointing.
Yeah.
But as I said before, you also have to look at it on the side of the player that they're desperate to play. You know what I mean? I can just imagine how that must feel, like young player bursting with energy and enthusiasm. They know they're talented, they want to go out there and express themselves, and for whatever reason they're not given the opportunity to do so. other clubs come calling, especially clubs like Newcastle, which, let's face it, Newcastle, big club, big fan base,
they're on the rise,
going places
as well.
He's thinking to himself, if I go there, man, I mean, no disrespects, but Newcastle are, I wouldn't say they're a bigger club than Villa, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say
they are just as big. You know what I'm saying?
It's quite level, maybe.
Yeah. So it's not like he's gone from Villa to, you know, I'm not even going to name any names, but he's gone to one of the lesser lights. He's gone to a big club.
He's still gone to a big club. And as well, Newcastle, there's a lot of opportunity there at the moment.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But, and as well, I know Newcastle haven't had the window that they would have wanted, but at least there's still some exciting. Not saying that Aston Villa's not exciting at this moment in time, but you kind of look at Aston Villa and you're like, oh, you're a bit, maybe not necessarily worried, but I don't know if you watched that game where Aston Villa played Newcastle. They literally had no threat really going forward.
Yeah.
And then you start to look at maybe as a player like, oh, they're not really bringing anyone in to help enhance the squad. You know, they're strapped for cash in terms of PSR. It is maybe, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at Villa. I thought they would have sought to refresh the team a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even towards the end of last season, you could see they're on the last legs a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the fact that they've not really sought to address that must be a little disappointing. Then on top of that, you're losing one of your young players.
Yeah.
To a potential rival, because let's face it, you said yourself, Villa and Newcastle are kind of in that same bracket.
They both were trying to push for Champions League. Do you know what I mean? They're both basically going to fight for a similar place in those European spots. And they're both teams that I think are quite equal in terms of talent, really. I mean, if we're saying that let's take maybe Alexander Isak out of it. We're looking at two very good teams with good defences, good goalkeepers, good attacking players, good midfielders. There's actually not much of a difference in terms of talent in between them. But as of right now,
I didn't see the whole game, but by all accounts, Newcastle were the better side.
I would say so. And you've got to consider as well, Newcastle played without Alexander Isak. Basically, Anthony Gordon played centrally in the whole game. I think he looks pretty good down there.
Yeah, I mean, he's played in that role before, that false nine. I mean, he does have pace and he does have trickery, which is going to help. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's a natural finisher, though, so, you know.
He's not a killer like Isak. But that's not
very few people.
But but even that's not a diss.
No,
you know
of course
what I mean?
not. No,
I think Anthony Gordon's still a fantastic player. But just to quote Tyrone Mings, he said, "I don't want to hear any bad words or anything negative on Jacob Ramsey's name. You don't know the half of it." And John McGinn essentially.
That would suggest to me that he's starting to get some stick on social media from the Villa fans.
Yeah. I think with Villa, a lot of Villa fans need to know is that with their PSR, a lot of their issues as well is that there's a lot of players at their club that are on high wages. So someone like Luca Dean is like, he's probably on about 150, 160k a week. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Do you know what I mean? Especially for someone that maybe doesn't start every game for Villa. We see ins and outs. So that's why, I think Jacob Ramsey obviously we don't know for certain, but I think Jacob Ramsey probably would have wanted to stay at Villa, but unfortunately he's had to, almost similar to Newcastle, where Newcastle a couple of seasons ago were having to sell, homegrown talent essentially, because they were also strapped with PSR and FFP and said, although we've got these rich owners, we're on the borderline of these rules, we have to unfortunately sell our homegrown players, which is always a sad thing.
Yeah. Listen, it happens to all the clubs. Yeah. Dare I say it, even bigger clubs in Villa. It's happened to Arsenal. We lost Chida Obi Martin, we lost Aiden Heaven in successive seasons, and both of those two players cited lack of playing opportunities as the reasons. And I would imagine it's very similar for Jacob Ramsey.
But do you not even remember that time? I remember that time at Arsenal where we literally had to tear up contracts for players because there was so many players on such high wages and they virtually had no value, and we couldn't afford to buy people. Even when we were building the Emirates for such a long time, we couldn't really afford to go out there and spend lots and lots of money. So that's why when we signed Nicolas Pepe at the time, it was almost like a statement from the club to the fans, like, right, we've got a bit of money now, we can spend a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas that was almost unheard of. But in a way, hopefully Villa can sort out their situation. But as of right now, it's not financially looking any different for them. And someone that they've been linked to is Nico Jackson of Chelsea, who obviously Unai Emery has managed before at Villarreal. He's the one that kind of basically helped him be the Nico Jackson that got the move to Chelsea. But as we know, Nico Jackson, Enzo Maresca even said, I think on Sunday, when Chelsea played, I think before the game, he basically said, look, I love Nico Jackson, but it's not part of the plan. He's not part of the squad, essentially. He was very cold. You know what? Enzo Maresca is a very blunt speaker. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. So obviously now they've got this player who's...
I think the die was cast for Jackson during the Club World Cup when he ridiculously got himself sent off. And don't forget, he'd got himself sent off previous to that, a few games before that. So, yeah, I mean, listen... Nicholas Jackson does have potential, and I think if he was to go to Villa, I think that would be a good move for him.
Yeah,
obviously,
I think so as well.
Linking up with a previous manager, he will get serviced there. There will be competition for places with him and Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good look for him.
I think with Nico Jackson as well, we need to remember he's not actually a striker. He was placed in a striker's position. He's actually a left winger. And we're talking about someone who, if we think about last season, he started this season very well, actually. And then he got to about January time and he just completely fell apart. And as we saw towards, especially at the end of the season, he got a red card. He got a red card in the Club World Cup. Like, he didn't really finish his Chelsea career maybe in the way that he would have wanted. But this is not to say that he's a bad player. I mean, I'm pretty sure he scored about 12 goals last season.
Yeah, he did,
That's still
I think he's got double figures a few times in the Premier League.
That's actually a decent return. And I think for...
It's interesting though that you said that he was a winger, which he was. I can't imagine him as a winger.
He's originally a left winger, but Unai Emery actually moved him into striker position, and he mostly impressed for Villarreal down the middle. So he can play left wing. Because
he just doesn't seem to have the finesse and the smarts for me as a winger. He just seems like that guy that you push further up top. Through the middle, because his physical attributes do make him a bit of a menace up top. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a very strong player, but as of right now, Villa can't afford the alleged €60 million package that Chelsea want for someone like Nicholas Jackson. And we need
they might have to drop their price, because
it's getting towards the end of the window.
Yeah.
So, from what I know, I can't think of any other clubs that have kind of come in for him. There was obviously links to Man United, and that's dead now.
Wasn't there links to Newcastle as well?
Yeah, links to Newcastle, but those are kind of maybe just tenuous, a bit of hearsay at the moment.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe the Villa one is, but at least there's a tie there with Unai Emery. But I guess we'll have to.
But like you said, if the manager has come out and said publicly, "You're not in my plans," I mean, you can't have it any more forthright than that, really, can you?
Yeah.
So I'll be surprised if he's still a Chelsea player. I mean, how long's the window got left now? It's not long now.
Yeah, 1st of September is when the window closes. And I'm pretty sure it closes at like 7:30 this time around.
Yeah, I reckon there's a good chance that he won't be there. I mean, if somebody can't afford the full package, then maybe a loan deal might suffice.
Yeah.
With an option to buy.
Yeah. Well, remember, Nicholas Jackson as well, he's got a contract at Chelsea to about 2033.
Yeah, exactly.
I think last year he signed a new contract with Chelsea. So this is also, these long contracts are good in a way in terms of like you can keep your top talents like Cole Palmer locked down for a long time. But when you want to get rid of someone like that, they could imagine if Nicholas Jackson says, "Yeah, I'm not leaving." I don't know how much he's on a week, but let's say he's on good amounts of money each week. He's like, "I'm not leaving. No one else is coming in for me." He could do what almost Jadon Sancho of United's doing at the moment, where I'm not going Roma, I'm not going Besiktas. I'm making this amount of money each week. I'm going to see out my contract, then I'll revisit.
Yeah, interesting.
Got to see what happens, man.
I reckon he'll probably go out on loan somewhere, maybe even abroad.
Yeah,
I could see that happening.
Yeah, no, it's true. But you know, I just got a bit of breaking news, man. Well,
breaking news.
It's about our club, Jakub Kiwior.
He's on his way.
Well, someone who's been heavily linked away from Arsenal this season. I think Porto have been really on his case. Apparently, Porto actually earlier put in a bid for him, but we rejected it. We're like, no, we want him to stay. Which I don't. What do you think? Would you want someone like Kiwior to stay, or do you think now you might look at that defence and say we've got enough people?
Yeah, I think if you're Kiwior and you've seen that, let's face it, Saliba and Gabriel are our first choice by some distance. But then if you're Kiwior and you see Mosquera coming in, you must be wondering to yourself, look, I'm hardly getting any game time as it is. Now they've got another centre-back come in. That's going to possibly reduce my chances of first team football even further. You have to remember as well, Kiwior's an established Polish international. And it's very likely that Poland will qualify for next year's World Cup.
Yeah, of course.
And let's be honest, since he's been at Arsenal, he's not had that much game time. I mean, even when he was getting minutes last season. It was only because Gabriel got that serious injury.
Yeah.
So he might be looking at it and think, maybe it's maybe time to move on.
Yeah,
and
man.
again, I couldn't blame him for that because again,
he's talented
these
enough to
guys
start.
need to be playing football. He's a very good player. He ain't going to want to be sitting on the bench, even at Arsenal.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think he's such a... You've heard me sing this guy's praise multiple times. He's someone that I think, if he plays every week, he's fine. He's actually a very solid...
He is.
He's a solid choice. I think as well, Palace and Everton as well looked at him, but apparently he might want to move out of the league rather than stay.
I must admit, I need to defer to him a little bit because I must say that initially I wasn't overly impressed with him. But like with a lot of players, once they get more minutes and you see him on a more regular basis, then you appreciate his abilities and his talents more. And he did well when he came in for Gabriel. He certainly didn't let Arsenal down.
I just think...
He's not as good as Gabriel.
Yeah, he's not as good as Gabriel.
He didn't let Arsenal down.
He's solid, man. Like, I always used to say, like, people always used to judge him off, like, maybe coming off cold off the bench. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, like, sometimes he'd come off the bench and he looked like, he's a player that he needs to settle into a game. But every time he's had a run of games, I've actually not felt worried. You think about, for example, when Saliba was out for that period, I forgot what season it is, and we'd lost to Man City. We lost to Man City 4-1 and he kind of came in. We won every game after that. He was just locked in good. Even last season, look what he did to Mbappe. Do you know what I mean? Just locked him up. He was like, he went on an absolutely incredible run. We had to play Everton away, all that. He was really good. Like, we're not talking about an idiot. We're talking about like a really good player.
He's an international.
Yeah, Polish international, very talented. He's young. Do you know what I mean? A lot of Italian clubs really wanted him. But apparently he's open to leaving because, like you said, he wants to play, as he should. And Porto is the club that's really chasing that at the moment.
And listen, if he goes to Porto, he'll probably play and he'll probably win things as well. So it makes sense for him.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So, if he goes, he would go with my blessing. But also, if he stays, I would welcome that as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy because then we've still got really good depth. Like, you think about it, don't get me wrong, we've got a lot of defensive options, but I think now what's good is that we almost have like depth, one person for each area, if that makes sense. Whereas before we kind of looked at it like, right, Calafiori can play left back, he can play centre back. Whereas like, what happens if Calafiori is out? That means your depth is gone already. That's right. So yeah, I mean, it
looks like he will go because, like I said, there's been some talk surrounding him leaving for some time now, and there's no smoke without fire. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go. And like I said, if he goes with my good blessings. He's a good player, like you said, not quite at the level of Saliba and Gabriel, but few people are. We're very blessed.
Yeah, we're very
In fact, I would say, I'm sure you agree with me, the defence is clearly Arsenal's best.
Yeah, I mean, look at the weekend
team.
where essentially we played like rubbish against Man United. Look what we could call upon.
Exactly.
We said, all right, Ben White, Calafiori, you're off. Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly. Or we could have said, Mosquera, you're coming on. Do you know what I mean? Not many other teams can have that strength and depth in defence, and I feel like that's obviously a lot. That's one of our, if not, that's our biggest quality at the moment.
It is, without a doubt. I mean, last season
strong we are.
We conceded only 34 goals in the Premier League, which was the lowest by some distance, actually. And so our problems are further up the pitch. Goalkeeper and defence, we're fine.
We're locked in there, man.
So and like I said, if you're, and let's face it, players will adopt this attitude. If you're a player like Kivior and you see Mosquera come in, you're thinking to yourself, boy, I'm hardly playing as it is. Now we've got a younger, very capable guy coming in. Where does that leave me? He's got to think of his own career.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get it, man. I get it.
And another person that's also linked away with Arsenal is Leandro Trossard. Someone that, in my opinion, I personally don't want to see Trossard leave, but I understand why he has to leave. Apparently he's entering into his final year of his contract. He doesn't necessarily want to sign a new contract. And there's clubs like Brentford are interested, clubs abroad are interested. I mean,
same kind of thing applies to Trossard. He's had limited opportunities. He has had opportunities. I think with Trossard, most Arsenal fans will probably agree with me when I say this. We all acknowledge his abilities and his attributes. He's a good finisher, he's a good player, technically very good. But when he started for Arsenal, I think I have to be honest and say he's not impacted the game as he would like it. Right? He's been used as an impact sub and he's done well in that situation. But Trossard, what is he now, early 30s?
Yeah, he must be about 30.
Yeah, again, a Belgian international with a World Cup coming up.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, well, it's not from what I understand. The manager said that Trossard has approached him and has, you know what I mean, has if not complained, but questioned as to why he's not been given more minutes. So you can perfectly understand why Trossard might be looking at it and thinking, you know what, they've brought in Gyökeres, they've brought in Madueke.
Yeah.
They're looking at other options. I'm sure we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah.
He might be thinking to himself, well, I'm barely playing as it is.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Maybe I'm best served by pursuing a career elsewhere, because he's into that twilight year. Well, he's not there yet, but he's entering into those twilight years in your early 30s. You know what I mean? He's probably looking at it and thinking, I've got another 3-4 years. These last few years of my football career are very important. I don't want to be sat on the bench, even if it is for a team like Arsenal.
Yeah.
No. Again, he's a player that if he stays, great. Good. If he goes in my good blessing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I don't personally want to see, as I see Trossard leave, as I said to my dad, I was like, name me maybe 5 other players that does what he does off the bench. There's hardly anybody else. He's like the definition of clutch. He turns up in so many big games. Like, you know, he's just fantastic. And as well, we got him at a time where obviously we were going to get Madrid. That didn't go through. We got Trossard. He's been an incredible servant to the club. But
it was good for Brighton as well.
He's not,
let's be honest, someone like Trossard would walk into most people's teams.
Yeah, he's
in
such
the Premier League.
Yeah, he would start for other Premier League
he would
for sure.
So
I mean, look, he was starting for Brighton essentially every week before he joined Arsenal. And I think as well, my indicator was like, you know, obviously before this was kind of a lot of talk. My indicator was like, right, I do think he's definitely going to leave us out on the weekend. We brought on Madueke instead of Trossard. And I was like, I think that might be a sign of like, right, he's probably out of the door. Like the manager's probably saying, right, you're not really a part of the plans anymore. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's seen Madueke arrive and he's thinking, you know what? Again, like Kivio is looking, thinking, look, I'm barely playing.
Yeah.
They brought in these guys. Where does that leave me?
Yeah, man.
And don't think that players don't think like that, because they do.
Yeah, of course. Look,
as fans, we think about Arsenal first.
Yeah.
Players are going to think of themselves first and Arsenal next.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly understandable.
And as well, obviously, there's a lot of David Ornstein basically said that Arsenal want to sell someone before they bring someone in. So we're obviously looking at that left wing option, which we'll get into a bit more. But we haven't sold anyone yet. We still got Reece Nelson, we still got Fabio Vieira, Sambi Lokonga, do you know what I mean? Zinchenko, Trossard, Kivio, players that essentially are sellable assets, but we haven't sold them yet. We haven't got loan moves for any of them. I mean, I don't know about you, right? I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, why is Arsenal so like kind to players? In the sense that if this was a Chelsea...
When you say kind, what do you mean?
If this was a Chelsea, for example, Chelsea would be like, yeah, under 21s, mate. See how they've said with Nicholas Jackson, right?
Yeah.
We like you and that, but you're not going to play. You're not part of the thing. You just have to open yourself up to other opportunities. Or same way the Man United have said to Garnacho, Sancho and that. You're not, like, that's it, end of the road.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that, yeah.
Instead, we're like... I mean, don't get me wrong, some of those players I mentioned weren't included in the matchday squad, but that was just because our squad was full.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like...
We don't have a very good reputation in terms of moving players on. No.
So
why that is, I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum, but you're right. There are a number of players at that club that you look at them. Like Zinchenko is another one. You look at him and you think
his time is finished.
You know that, and he knows
it. He even said it the other day when he did that interview, basically talking about how he feels sad that he's not starting and that he knows that essentially there's 3 people ahead of him before he even gets a sniff. So
it must be so frustrating as a player, isn't it? Like know you got the ability, but you're down the pecking order, and unless there's an injury to someone, you're unlikely to play.
Yeah.
So, and let's be honest, we got a manager that is not very expansive with his substitutions.
He's not.
It's not like he's going to make an array of subs and completely change his tactics, and he's not really that kind of manager. So when you're on the periphery like that and you got the talent, you've been there in the past, it must be soul destroying actually to just sit on you're training hard, because let's face it as well, Arsenal are a club that demands standards even in training, so you're training like hell, knowing that there's a very, very, very good chance that come the weekend you're going to be sat there, and not just sat there, you're not going to get any minutes, and if you do, it's going to be the last 5-10. It must be soul destroying. So,
it must.
I understand it.
It must, man. But you know what? This leads us perfectly onto somebody else that obviously Arsenal have been linked to, but have completely, as of right now, missed out on, and that's Eberechi Eze.
Oh, man.
So Eberechi Eze, Tottenham and Palace have apparently agreed a deal in principle to sign Eberechi Eze, and Arsenal are no longer in the race, and the player is happy to join Tottenham Hotspurs. The fee is believed to be agreed for 55 million plus 5 million add-on, so that's 60 million, which is much less than the 68 million release clause. But for Palace, that's still a good amount of money. I actually think Palace, if I was Palace, I'd be saying, yo, man, this guy's worth 70. You think about some of the players that have gone. You're telling
I'm
me
sure they did, to be honest.
You're telling me Eze's 5 million more than Anthony Elanga. That's crazy to me. Do you know what I mean? It's just like night and day. Or he's only a bit more than Madueke. We're talking about a player that's top level. But for Spurs, this is great business. Air says, imagine Nico Jackson at Spurs with Eze and Kudus. I mean,
let me just say at the outset how disappointed I am by this development. I really am, man. And it's a double whammy because A, we're not getting Eze, and that kind of hits in the gut. B, the fact that he's going to Tottenham of all clubs is even more soul destroying for me. So you could probably tell by the look of resignation in my eye. I am so disappointed with Arsenal for not getting Eze through the door, because I was one of those. And FB Marty, shame on you. Because Marty, I know he's been getting a lot of stick, innit? Yeah. Shout out my boy FB Marty. But yeah, Marty had let it slip, and then maybe that's a lesson for him to learn. Yeah. That he had a connection in football, and he was being told that the Eze deal was looking very, very likely. And so we all got excited, didn't we? We was all like, yeah, man, yeah. Because we all wanted Eze. I haven't met a single Arsenal fan that did. Actually, you know what? Maybe Curtis. Shout out to Curtis. Curtis was saying he'd rather Rodrigo. Yeah, he wanted Eze, but out of the two. I think, you said that.
But I always said that, although I would prefer Rodrigo, that's not me saying that no to. That's not me being like, Eze. I'm still very happy. I still would have been incredibly happy with Eze.
Exactly. Like, so I can't think of a single fan that wouldn't have wanted him. I know a few that would have preferred Rodrigo over Eze, but me personally, I was the other way. I wanted Eze over Rodrigo, simply because, not because I'm denigrating Rodrigo's skills, it's because I've seen what Eze can do. Yeah. Right. We need players that can hit the ground running. This assimilation stuff, I don't think we've got time for it. We knew what Eze could do. Okay, he's not a left winger, but he is a left-sided forward. He can also play number 10. We know what his abilities are. They're well documented. He would have been an absolute asset to us. And to think that we were seemingly very close, that's what we've been led to believe. Only it would appear for Tottenham to somehow come in, gazump the deal, and now they're on the verge of signing him. To me, I'm a bit crestfallen by that, man. But hey,
I mean, just on
what can I say?
On the Arsenal front, obviously, as you basically summed up, Arsenal have basically let someone we're talking about a guy that's come out multiple times and said, I grew up supporting Arsenal, I was in the Arsenal academy, talks about his connection to the club. And it was so annoying because at first Spurs were obviously originally in for him, and then Arsenal came in and it was like, right, the player wants to go to Arsenal. Arsenal's his location of choice. It looked all good. Then we just kind of went stale. We kind of just withdrew, and now we're not in the race whatsoever. But for Spurs, this is a fantastic sign.
They must be in dreamland.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. They've now got. Think about the ball carriers they've got in their team. They've got Kudus, who's a fantastic ball carrier. Eze, Kulusevski, James Maddison. I know he's done his ACL, but incredible midfielder. These are incredible ball carriers that they've added into their team, which can enhance, maybe a bit of sexy football that we know. Listen, that
Tottenham Thomas Frank look is a different animal. Yeah. Since Thomas Frank has come in there, they already look much better than they did last season. No disrespect to Ange, but it's obvious. Tottenham this season, I mean, you've seen at the weekend, they're very impressive against Burnley. And I know some people say, it's only Burnley. But I saw the highlights, extended highlights of that game. They look very impressive. As you said, Kenya, Kudos had a really good game. Richarlison looks revitalised up top. And there's a real energy going for it. And them getting Eze as well, that's great for them.
Yeah, man.
So, but for us, I mean, I can only imagine, Kenya, that Arsenal allowing that Eze deal to slip away must indicate that they've got another option. Is it Rodrigo? I don't know.
Well,
because otherwise I can't understand why they would have seemingly pursued Eze and then not followed through with it, even though Tottenham had expressed an interest. Because I'm thinking, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but if Eze is presented with the two options, Tottenham or Arsenal, I'm pretty sure he's going to go for Arsenal. You said yourself,
yeah, I mean, the early reports essentially was when Arsenal first, because obviously if we go all the way back a couple of months ago, Spurs were in first, and it was like, rah, they're getting a run for Eze. This is when the Rodrigo hype was still there. That kind of died down. Then Arsenal allegedly went in for Eze, had talks with his camp. Essentially, the camp said, yeah, he would love to come. We already, as I said before, we already know this is someone that was in our academy at one point, has been on record. There's a video going around of him literally when he's like 19 or something, talking about how he's grown up supporting Arsenal.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about someone who essentially would have achieved this dream of playing for the club he supports. But he's probably thinking now, like, yo, Arsenal they've done all this talking, they've just gone AWOL essentially. I've got another team that's in the Champions League as well. That is still a big club, but still in London as well. Why not? I'll go there. I'll still be the main man there. He would definitely start at Spurs as well. Whereas with Arsenal, there's a bit more competition in terms of midfield options for him. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, he will go there, and I'm sure he'll do very well. I mean, I've seen some of the Spurs fans' reaction online and on TV, and they're really excited about it, and that's where they might be. Like I said, I can only imagine that with Arsenal not pursuing Eze, there must be a feasible option that they're going after.
Well, you say that, but I saw today that basically Real Madrid sources is basically saying that they believe Rodrigo's going to stay. Because they've said that Arsenal's not actually made an offer or put in a bid or anything like that about the player. They just it's almost like they've said, right, we like this guy, but they've not actually acted on it. And apparently Real Madrid would be willing to drop the price now because it's towards the end of the window, but they expect him to stay because there's not really been any movement around it. And as well with Ademola Lookman, I mean, his deal to Inter at the moment is off, because Atalanta want, I think, 50 million euros. But as of right now, he wants to go to Inter. So what's to even say that he would want to go to Arsenal? So as of right now, Arsenal don't really have, from what I know anyways, don't have any left-wing options out there. So that means if you're going to sell Trossard, essentially, you're going into the season with one left winger in Martinelli, because Madueke is a right winger. So,
although he did come on as a left winger.
And look what it looked like.
No, but to be fair to Madueke, no one played well at the weekend, man.
I know, but the way
apart from David Ryan, no outfield. Actually, when I say no one played well, I thought the two centre backs had a decent second half when we were under a bit of pressure.
First half they were a bit.
Yeah, first half they were a bit wayward, but second half we came together a bit more defensively. But further up the pitch, anyway, no one played well. I think that's fair to say. So I wouldn't want to dig Madueke out, but you're right. He didn't have a very auspicious.
I don't know if there's any Chelsea fans in the chat, right? A Chelsea fan will tell you this guy, his best position's on the right, where he's like actually.
He's actually come out and said that as well. He's on the record as saying that.
I've seen Madueke play on the left, and it's okay. It's not that much different from Martinelli, if I'm being very honest. Like, if you're gonna upgrade it, we bought Madueke for depth, not to be the left winger, not to be the guy that starts every week. If we go into the season and that's what you're telling me, the left wing depth is Madueke and Martinelli, it's a failure.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Well, as of right now, where's
no, but it's week next? 1 of 38, so we don't know.
Nah, man, I'm sorry.
I want to be positive and give Madueke an opportunity, because I do see green shoots there.
I'm not saying Madueke is not good, but it's almost similar to when we signed Trossard, in the sense that Trossard is a fantastic player. He can fill holes where it is, but the reality is Trossard is not a striker.
No, I would describe Trossard as a creative left-sided forward.
Yeah, he's a hybrid player.
Yes, he's not a left winger. But then that's what I'm saying. That's what Eze would have been. So if you're letting Trossard go, Eze would have completed that role. And listen, it's just my opinion, but I think he's an improvement on Trossard at this stage of these stages on their careers.
I would.
So it would have made perfect sense for me that if you're not getting a specialised left winger, bring in a creative left-sided forward who can also play number 10, by the way. So, Many people will tell you at the club that our number 10 is a bit misfiring at the moment. So there's an option there too.
Yeah.
So I can't for the life of me see why we didn't go through with it as they do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to trust in the club.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust them and say, if they allowed that as a proposed move to go by the wayside and allow Tottenham
someone
to
wicked
get in,
best be coming in.
somebody else is coming in. So watch this space.
Yeah, somebody, as I see it, is if you're going to let someone as talented as Eberechi Eze not join the club where he was actually willing to join our rivals, then there has to be someone similar level, if not better, to join. That's how I see it.
And that's going to be difficult.
And that's, but then that's the challenge that the club have put out for themselves. So go and sort it out. Simple as that.
Because the Rodrigo thing, I've got to admit, I've said this many times on many different formats. I was never convinced that A, Rodrigo wanted to come to Arsenal.
So,
B,
same with me.
If he comes to the Premier League, I'd have my doubts as to whether he could slot straight in and just hit the ground running. Because I look at Rodrigo, and whilst I acknowledge his technical ability and skills, he does look a bit lightweight to me. He might struggle, certainly in his first season. We ain't got no time to be wasting. That's why I was made up about the Eze links, because I looked at him and I thought he'd go straight in.
Yeah.
He's had a pre-season. He's played in the Premier League pretty much all his career. Boom, in.
Yeah.
Done. Whereas you bring in Rodrigo, no, assimilation process, got to build himself up to cope with the vagaries of the Premier League. It might take a while.
Yeah, no.
Fans are going to have to be patient. I'm not sure. Kenya, what do you think? Do we have that time to be patient? We don't. We are at that stage now where it's do or die, all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
TJ here, I'm assuming TJ's an Arsenal fan, says, let's be honest, when was the last time Arsenal bought a player when the season started? Our window has closed. I mean, that is, again, these are, if you're an Arsenal fan, it's a moment you start to look at it like, rah, man, this is a guy. It's a bit of a, not damning, but it dampens your mood, especially.
It's a punch in the gut, man. Trust me. So it definitely, for me anyway. Yeah. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah,
and the fact as well that he's going to Tottenham,
makes it worse. It just salt in the wound, isn't it?
Exacerbates that feeling even more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as you're saying about Rodrigo, I mean, the whole Rodrigo's not even. Let's say if Rodrigo did want to leave, it's not even promised he wants to join Arsenal. City are interested in him. Liverpool have also hold a bit of interest in him.
Well, they're always going to be interested because he's a quality player.
So, and we know these are two other clubs that are rich and can afford to buy this player as well. So,
but you know what I've found is very interesting, right? So hear me out on this one. So Xabi Alonso, let's face it, is a young manager that knows his way around football. He's a top player.
Yeah.
He's proven himself to be a top manager.
Yeah.
He's rocked up at Real Madrid, so he's given all those players a clean slate.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Rodrigo's barely played for Madrid since he's took over? Now, why do you think that is? So if he was this great player that, people keep telling me, and listen, I'm sure he's very good. I've heard, what's his name, Jude Bellingham, saying technically he's one of the best, if not the best player at Madrid. So if technically he's that good, why is he not playing for Madrid? Even last season, he wasn't featuring every week. So what's the problem then?
I would say, though, just to be fair to him, you have someone like Kylian Mbappe who's kind of come in and kind of I don't want to say ruin the balance, but kind of ruin the balance of that team. Right. Rodrigo is a left winger by trade, but he was moved into the right because obviously Vinicius Junior is also a left winger, and he was just so fantastic. You can't bench him. So essentially, Real Madrid have gone and got Kylian Mbappe, who, in my opinion, is not a number 9. He is a left winger. That's where his best position is. That's where he's most comfortable. And you can see at times, I don't know if you watched a few Real Madrid games, there's times you watch them, all three of them are stood on the left-hand side. Do you know what I mean? So the team's not balanced. Yeah. So Xabi Alonso might be thinking, right, Vinicius Junior, Vinicius Junior is Vinicius Junior. We just got Mbappe in. He's our staple player. He's our biggest player at the moment.
He's a Galactico, isn't he?
Yeah. Rodrigo, he's fantastic. He's a good player, but he's not a Vinicius Junior. He's not an Mbappe. So I can maybe sacrifice someone who's actually playing out of position. I'd rather promote, Gonzalez or Endrick or Arda Güler, who can play in those positions, especially Arda Güler, who's can play on the right. So, and they're also thinking, right, this is a really good player. We can get a lot of money for him as well. So it's for Madrid. It's a win-win situation.
Right.
So. I don't know.
Yeah, you make a good case for that.
Yeah.
But listen, I would certainly take Rodrigo.
Yeah, I look big as options.
And he is a specialist left winger, like you said. And some people would make the argument, and I understand it, that rather than get Eze, we get a specialist left winger because currently our attack is imbalanced.
Yeah, 100% it is.
But I'm just a little bit worried that does Rodrigo want to come to the Premier League? Because that means a lot to me, as a fan. And I'm not seeing anywhere where Rodrigo is open to the move. All I've heard him say, he wants to stay and fight for his place. I've not heard him even mention Arsenal.
Yeah,
even though we've been linked with him for all this time,
man.
I've not heard him say anything.
Exactly.
Now that could be just him keeping his counsel and being a real professional.
Yeah, unlike some people.
But watch this space, I think.
Yeah, man, and it is what it is. But against a team that he's linked to, City, Manuel Akanji, who's obviously one of their defenders, Galatasaray are really interested in him. I think they submitted a bid, and for Man City, they basically, Pep already. Pep's basically like, right, if you want to go, then I'm not going to stand in your way. And fair enough to him, because you know what, he can replace players very well.
He can.
So,
what's happened with Akanji then? Because weren't that long ago, he's been seen as one of their stalwarts.
Yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know. I think for Akanji, if I was Akanji, I'd just stay at City. He gets good game time. Pep actually moves them centre-backs around quite a bit. John Stones isn't very reliable. Ake also has injury issues. I know Akanji last season had a few injury issues, but overall he's quite a reliable player.
He is. He's a good player.
Yeah, I think if I was him...
Physical, good on the ball, good in the air.
I really
he's
like
prone to the odd mistake, but then all centre-halves are.
I think he's quite an underrated centre-back.
Yeah, I believe so.
Not many people speak about, but you put him in, he's solid. He does his job.
I would be a little bit surprised if they did let him go.
Yeah.
But then, like you said,
it's Pep, man.
With Pep, once
business.
Maybe Akanji's thinking I need a new challenge.
Yeah.
So, and then Pep's caught onto it and thought, right. Because Pep is famous for that, isn't it? Once you start even entertaining a move away, or he will just say, right, okay, then, yeah.
But it's funny we say that though, because I guess Savinho's done that, but apparently City now are saying, we're not selling him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Savinho was actually really open to go into Spurs, and no disrespect to Savinho, he's not a Riyad Mahrez. Let's get it right. He's not of a winger level. He's not a winger that's been of some of the City legends that we've seen in previous years. It's like a Riyad Mahrez, for example. He was absolutely fantastic.
But the difference with that though, right? Sorry to interrupt, but when City acquired Mahrez, you remember he'd done really well at Leicester. Yeah. This is what I'm saying about he's Premier League battle tested and ready. So by the time he rocked up at City, he knew what it was all about, and he was joining an even better team. Yeah. No disrespect to Leicester. So it's not surprising that he did so well.
Yeah.
Bit like when Chelsea acquired my man, who's the defensive midfielder.
Oh, Caicedo.
No, not Caicedo. The French guy.
N'Golo Kante.
Yes. So you're getting these players from other clubs. They've already done it in the Premier League, won the league with Leicester. So by the time you rocked up at Chelsea,
you
got the finished article, boom.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Sometimes when you're bringing players from outside the league, and listen, this is not a knock on them, it's just life.
Yeah.
It takes time to assimilate, get used to the pace of the play, the intensity, everything else, getting used to your new surroundings, players coming in, they need to learn the language like Rodrigo would. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's why I would always prefer, if there's an option, to get the player that can hit the ground running and ready to go.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, speaking of hitting the ground running as well, Garnacho is, we know already he wants to join Chelsea. Apparently,
he's twerking for Chelsea badly. Man.
Yeah, apparently that's starting to accelerate. What's it called? Apparently as well, he's turned down, according to Sky anyways, he's turned down an option to go to Bayern on loan. So he would prefer to just go Chelsea, have a permanent deal. And I think as well, it'd be good for Chelsea. It's, they need to replace Madueke that they've lost, and Garnacho can play left and right. He's a young, exciting player, a great talent.
I think Garnacho would be a good move for Chelsea, actually, because Garnacho, I know he's got his issues with Man United. He's not conducted himself the best. Yeah. But he is a very talented player, and he's young, and he would appear that he's a man with something to prove. He knows that the way it ended at Man United was not good, and he'll be anxious to show people that he's still a very good player.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, yeah, it's just a matter of time. I think with Chelsea, kind of similar to us, they want to sell someone first, probably the Nico Jackson. They want to sell players first before they bring in him, and obviously they still want to try and get Xavi Simons, who again they want to sell someone before trying to get rid of Nkunku as well, which I think he will be going to Bayern Munich. So I mean,
doesn't he turn down a move? I heard today that he turned down somewhere.
Oh man, well I can't lie, best accept it. He's not going to play for Chelsea, is he? Just go there and revive.
But with Chelsea, they're linked with all these attacker players. They needed defenders.
That's what
especially
I think.
with Colwell.
That's what. Look, I think as well. Again, we're as Arsenal fans. We're so blessed to say there's no Gabriel, cool. Calafiori, no this person, cool. Ben White. Do you know what I mean? I just think you've lost your best defender in Levi Colwell, who as well ended the season brilliantly. He had a great Club World Cup. Unfortunately, he's torn his ACL. So you're literally not... We can tell you as Arsenal fans who also lost Timber to an ACL, you're not going to see him to the end of the season. No. That's facts.
Even being a young player like that.
You need to think about the amount of competitions they're in. You're in the Champions League now as well. You've got the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. You've got the Prem. Do you know what I mean? You've got all these competitions. Go and get a defender, honestly. That's what I definitely think. Don't get me wrong, their attack could be bolstered, but that's not... Almost similar to Liverpool, attack could be bolstered. That would be fantastic, but defence is so important as well.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always
defence also wins you games.
Definitely. I mean, it's always like quite a sexy look to bring in midfielders and attackers and so forth. But unless you got that back secured,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Problems.
Yeah, man. But yeah, and quickly let's finish on Wissa and Isak.
It's a nice place in which to finish.
Yeah, Johan Wissa. Obviously, we know already he's kicking up a fuss, wants to leave Brentford. He deleted essentially everything to do with Brentford off his Instagram.
This guy, man.
Took down his profile picture, every picture to do with the club. I mean, just quickly tell me your take on that.
It's almost like,
tasteful, man.
You see, like in relationships sometimes, when it's going good, it's good, and then when it goes bad, man, it goes really bad.
Archived, you know
That's
what I mean?
like Wissa. When he came there and he was doing so well, it was a great story, innit? They got him from the French league, where, let's face it, he was, you know what I mean, operating in relative obscurity, no disrespect, compared to the Premier League. He come from Lorient, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? He's come to the Premier League. And to be fair to him, listen, it's on him. He did really well. Even, I'll give him credit, because when Ivan Toney left the club, a lot of people like myself even was saying, wow, they could struggle to replace the goals of Ivan Toney. If anything, they did better. Him and Mbeumo had really standout seasons.
About 18 goals each.
Yeah, he did really well. So, and then listen, with that, inevitably is going to come interest from other clubs. That's just the way football works. So listen, I've got no issue or problem with Wissa looking to, again, we spoke about it earlier in the show, looking to enhance his career. It's a career move for him. He's not from London, he's not from Brentford. You know what I mean? With respect to Brentford, you can't expect him to stay there forever. Once he's hit a certain level and he attracts interest, his highlight is going to go. However...
Similar to Christian Norgard as well.
Yeah, and similar to Isak, who we'll talk about in a minute. But so you can understand why he would want to seek a move away, explore his options, as it were. However, the way he's gone about it, man, I personally think, look, I know he's got an issue with the club, but if I was a Brentford fan and I see my player essentially wiping every memory of our club, all of the great moments. Last season, Brentford had a good season last season. They finished 10th, do you know what I mean? They were pushed, they could have made a late charge for those European spots. But obviously it didn't work out that way, but it still had a really good season. And just, if I was a fan and I see one of my best players doing that, that would really, I would be really upset. Imagine if, I don't know, let's say, Saka or someone, or Martinelli, whoever's moved, or William Saliba, someone who's linked with moves away to Real Madrid. Imagine he wants to move to Real Madrid, fair enough. But then imagine he deletes every picture of Arsenal, wipes every, thing of Arsenal. That would upset me. Because it's like, yo, what am I... it's almost like, take your issues out with the board. If they promised you a move away, take it out on them, not the fans that have supported you and backed you. There's a way in which to leave, man. I mean, honestly, like, and listen, we do have to be cautious in how we say this for two things. Number one, I remember we did a show like this on this channel, and we did another one on LL Sports TV. A quick plug for my channel, by the way.
Big up.
And I got a bit of stick because people saying, "Oh, you're saying all this about Isak and Wissa. What about Gyökeres?" And I said, "Look, I acknowledge that Gyökeres,
he shouldn't have done it.
He could have conducted himself better as well.
There's a professional way.
To me, Isak and Wissa, though, they've taken it a notch or a couple of notches above or lower than what Gyökeres did. Like all this stuff, deleting all references to Brentford.
Rubbish, man.
Surely it could have been handled better than this. And like I said, I am reserving my right to understand Wissa's want for a move away. I get it. Even with Van Persie, when I got into arguments with Arsenal fans, I said, look, I can understand why Van Persie would want to go to Man United, because at that time, they were in a better position to win trophies than we were. And let's be honest, he was vindicated by that because in his first season, he went and won the league. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to understand it. I always say the only constant at a football club is the fans. Players, managers, staff, they come and go. Yeah. So you have to understand that dynamic. Yeah, however, I do agree with you, Kenny. There's a way in which to do it. And this surely is not the right way to do it. Yeah, man. Even though, and we're going to talk about Isak in a minute, these players have let it slip that both of the clubs that they've been looking to leave have somehow reneged on gentlemen's or unwritten agreements. So that's been the cause of their upset. So there is another side to the story, which, unless Wissa and Isak come out and tell us what that other side of the story is in detail, we don't really know. Yeah, no, it's facts. And I mean, but just the optics of it don't look good. Yeah, I agree. Look, as you said, I completely agree with what you said. I don't begrudge any of those players for wanting to make a good move for their career, because just as players are ruthless, clubs are also ruthless. We can get that. We never know. Look, as I said before, look what's happening to Donnarumma right now. There you go. You know, PSG saying, that's it, you're done. You're not even coming back. Clear out your locker room. Clubs can thanks for winning the Champions League, but you know what, we're moving on your bike. We don't want you anymore. And, you know, I understand that clubs can be very ruthless as well. But I personally think, as I said at the time of Gyökeres, yo, man, why are you putting out statements now? What about those fans that are supporting you? What about what about your teammates as well? Not even just take fans out. What about your teammates? What about Bruno G, that's having to see all this stuff and try to settle his squad, knowing that they've got a bit of a tough start? Their first game is away at Aston Villa, do you know what I mean? Or what about those Brentford players that have lost their manager, lost their captain, lost another player of theirs that's fantastic? They're probably thinking, yo, man, you're erasing essentially the identity of Brentford just because you want to get your move. Cool, you want to move. That's fine. No one's begrudging you of that, but there's a way to go about it. I just think, do you not think it might have been better for both him and Isak to be a little bit more transparent then? So if you're taking the trouble to delete all references to Brentford on your social media, it's similar to Isak. If you're taking the trouble to go and train in Spain and stuff like that, why not hint at what is the genesis of this beef you have with your clubs? Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they have to come out and like betray confidence. Yeah. And give, you know what I mean, put on social media ins and outs of it, but just come out and give a statement and say, look, well, I don't even so many of the fans may be wondering why I've taken this move. Yeah. However, there are things that you guys need to know. I think that I think that might have been better rather than just going on strike. I don't even think they needed to do that, right? I always said, especially with Alexander Isak, why wasn't he just honest with Newcastle straight away? When Liverpool put in that bid, he should have just said, right, I love Newcastle, but this is an opportunity I can't turn down. You let the club turn it down, and then basically a week later you decide to tell the club, yeah, actually I want to explore my options. After they've also missed out on their primary target in Ekatike, who could have been your replacement essentially. You basically shafted the club, Bro. That's how it looks. Yeah, but maybe, Kenya, there is another... Because as this goes on, especially with Isak, I'm looking at Isak and Wissa as well, and those two guys, they don't give me the impression that they're troublemakers. Yeah, certainly Isak looks a very introverted guy. Yeah. I've never heard of him having any real problems before. Yeah, no. He's always seemed to carry himself well, both on and off the pitch, and Wissa. Yeah. So the fact that they're going down this road... I'm trying to be fair to them. There must be something that happened for them to do this?
We only know what we can read in the media. From,
So don't you think it might have been better for them to be a little bit more transparent and put something out there that the likes of me and you can say, well, actually, okay, he's still in the wrong for going on strike, but you know what? There, you know, what I mean, there is something.
But then, in
there.
a way, I know the situation's a bit different. Like, sometimes when you do that, it actually opens up for more controversy, and I think that's why maybe look at someone like Trent, who actually was very professional, didn't say anything. Look at how much stick he got. I know it's a bit of a different situation. So maybe as a player, you're probably thinking, right, it's a very inflamed situation at the moment. Maybe it's best I keep quiet as of now, try and sort this out with the club.
No, but they've not kept quiet, though, innit? They've actually said, I won't play for you again.
Yeah, but then I guess they've not publicly said that. They've actually relayed.
No, but Wissa has. He's saying, he's not
he's
spoken,
related
but
to the club.
The actions he's taken are quite egregious, isn't it?
Yeah,
he said, look, boom.
That's it. Well, both of them said they're not.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean, both went in there.
Whoever's representing these guys, and I'm sure they have PR people in their teams, I would have thought it might have been better served for them to put some holding statement out there and say, look, okay, what if they said something like, you may have noticed that I've done this and it may seem to you pretty an egregious act. However, there are things that, you know what I mean, you'll need to know. I'll address those at a later date. But we're working with the club to try and find a, you know what I mean, something to at least curry a little bit of favour with the fans and the media and everything. Because the problem that these two guys have is that they're looking so bad right now that it's just a bad look for them, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
But hey, that's just I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But Laurie, I just want to big you up.
Thanks, man.
How are you?
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
I just want to say to everyone in the chat, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also, go over to LO Sports TV. Subscribe.
Check me out, man.
Subscribe
LO Sports
to
TV,
Laurie's
football,
channel.
boxing.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Yep. We will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock with some more news. Hopefully tomorrow we have some more clarity on some of these players, like a Wissa and Isaac. But yeah, big up everyone, and we're out.